Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Thursday, February the 20th, 2020. I am Bav Norther with the details. Crime scene investigation is a key element in bringing perpetrators of various crimes to justice. And the SVG police force today received a boost in its capacity to fight crime with the donation of several pieces of crime scene investigation equipment. The high-tech equipment, which include cameras and other pieces of technology used to gather evidence, as well as those required to maintain the integrity of the evidence gathered, were handed over by the regional security system. Speaking at the handing over ceremony at NEMO's conference room, Commissioner of Police Colin John thanked the RSS for the donation, adding that the regional body is an important partner to the SVG police force. The police commissioner highlighted what was donated and how they will assist the RSVG police force with its crime-fighting efforts.
The gifts that we have here today, they are in various categories. They have gifts related to personal protection of police officers, and these include gloves, these include masks and other protective gears for the police to protect them when they visit crime scenes, and also to enhance the integrity of the exhibit that you may collect from the crime scenes. We also have evidence collection equipment. This again assists in evidence handling and also assists in the chain of custody so that you can properly present a case when you go to court. We also have fingerprint equipment. This assists in crime solving and help to increase the conviction rate and the detection of crimes within St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Additionally, we have photographic equipment, again, that assists in conviction and crime detection.
The police commissioner said transnational crime is a problem for every nation and believes the ongoing collaboration with the RSVG police force and the RSS is one way to combat this issue.
Transnational. And we, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, and other similar bodies or similar law enforcement agencies, we have to approach it with that in mind. The criminals, they know no boundaries. They do not rely on passports to travel from countries to countries. We have to do likewise. We have to bring our A game when we are fighting crime. So hence collaboration of this nature with the RSS. We have received valuable assistance from the RSS. Through the CBI training, through the other training that the RSS has provided for us, we have been able to communicate formally and informally and have achieved a lot. So it is my hope as Commissioner of Police and my intention for the organization for us to continue in this vein, to redouble our effort, to work harder and smarter so that we can help to reduce crime significantly, not only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but in the Caribbean and in the world as a whole.
Also speaking at the ceremony was Program Manager of the Delegation of the European Union to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, OECS and CARIFORUM, Luke Pazelt. He said capturing guilty persons is just as important as ensuring an innocent person is not convicted. Pazelt said it is important for law enforcement agencies to continue to boost their capacity through training in the use of technology, and gave the assurance that the EU will continue to support the RSS in its endeavors.
Invest in people. We believe that skill is a powerful weapon and a source of security in the 21st century. This is why we are supporting the RSS Training Institute in carrying out its indispensable mandate to standardize training in the region, for example through its crime scene technician course. We are happy to further consolidate this program with a practical component that will enable practitioners to hone and apply the professional standards in forensic investigations and present admissible and cogent evidence in court. For us, supporting better equipment for the investigation of crime scenes is not only a smart approach to fighting crime, but it is also a smart approach to avoiding wrongful convictions. and fits well within our philosophy of mainstreaming human rights into the fight against crime. We will continue to support the RSS and its member states in making competent law enforcement officers, and we are very aware of the key role that each and every one of you plays in shoring up citizen security.
A maiden meeting of the SVG Ghana Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation, PJCC, held in Accra from February 11th to 14th, 2020, resulted in a number of agreements. Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce, Sir Louis Straker, led SVG's delegation to the meeting in Accra, Ghana. The Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation originated from discussions between Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and the President of Ghana, when Prime Minister Gonsalves visited Ghana in November 2018 and signed a general cooperation agreement. Discussions for the PJCC continued during the reciprocal visit of the President of Ghana in 2019. During the recent visit to Ghana, 4 days of meetings were held, at which time agreements were reached for cooperation in areas of political policy coordination, agriculture, trade and investment, tourism, culture, health and education. Both parties agreed to cooperation in the promotion of Vincentian Initiative for the establishment of an African, Brazil, Caribbean and Diaspora Commission. The government of the Republic of Ghana also agreed to assist SVG in the area of agriculture, particularly in the production of variety of yams as a major crop, and cocoa, for which Ghana is a leading producer in the world. A draft air services agreement between both countries is said to be under consideration, as well as a MOU in tourism, arts and culture, and a MOU with the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, to enhance collaboration including development of root crops and breadfruit. The Minister of Tourism, Arts, Culture of Ghana is scheduled to visit SVG within the next 2 months to facilitate the finalization of the Memorandum of Understanding related to tourism. SVG agreed to grant 5 scholarships for nurses from Ghana to undertake specialized training in SVG. This program is expected to come into effect in 2021. The next meeting of the PJCC is scheduled to take place in SVG during the first quarter of 2022. With the oil and gas industry booming in Guyana, a number of Vincentians are being considered job openings there. This is according to Guyana's Consul General to SVG, Nigel Russell, who told SVG-TV News that while he does not recruit persons, he has received more than 1,000 inquiries from Vincentians who have expressed interest to work in Guyana's oil industry.
Yesterday, we got information through my office there. They need 5 more persons right now. These are going to work directly in oil and gas. That information has been passed to the loan recruiter in Beckwith. So once they work the details out or the conditions out now and they've issued letters right now of employment, then that comes to me directly now. So we begin now to do the processing of your work permit. So quite a lot of applications, not applications, but queries about different job areas. So now, because we do not do direct employment, the loan recruiter here is for oil and gas. And many people are not only asking about oil and gas jobs, but other jobs. So we can't give that information because we don't know about those things.
The Guyanese Consul General said a recruiter is now in a state to recruit Vincentians.
Despite that St. Vincent had so many people working abroad, we have a list of 140 persons that we got last year of Vincentians that have been working in Abu Dhabi, in Africa, South Africa, in what is place there in the United States there, forget the name of the place there, but they've been working there for years and they're back with a lot of experience. So when we sent those lists to them, all the recruiters in Guyana, it blew their mind. They were only hearing about Trinidad and about Barbados and all of these things, but they never knew about St. Vincent before. St. Vincent has a lot of experienced men and women who worked not only the cruise ships, but in oil and gas.
Russell said persons are also needed to work in the Guyana tourism industry, and he has been tasked to issue permits required for persons as requested by the government of Guyana.
I was down there, I was able to get some work permits done for people who have come down there to work. That is very much on stream. But one of the things I want to make very clear, previously before we had a consulate, people will go down to Guyana, go as visitors, and then make application for work permits. That is no longer permitted. Now that you have a consulate, the Guyana government is very, very clear on that now. It's got to come through our office so we can start making the preparations, and the process takes place from our office for your work permit. We want to make this very clear to every citizen of this country here. Nobody's denying them jobs, but if you want to go down to work, it means that you have to get someone who's to employ you. First of all, send your job letter. So we got job letters here first, so we were able to start the process of your permit.
Good soil and water are key resources in the agriculture sector, and CEO of the SVG Medicinal Cannabis Authority says work is being done to ensure the quality of water and soil used in the medicinal cannabis industry is of the highest standard. His comments came at the opening of a training workshop on Tuesday for traditional cannabis growers who are looking to get into the medicinal cannabis industry.
The advantage of St. Vincent Grenadines is this. We have a special soil called Molic Anderson. It's a volcanic type of soil. And it is only present in 0.75% of the Earth's crust. Less than 1% of the surface of the Earth has this soil. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines has this soil. High in phosphate that makes things grow is ideal for planting cannabis.
The MCA is expected to soon have access to a state-of-the-art laboratory, which will allow for testing of the cannabis and the soil. And Dr. Thompson highlighted what will be looked for during the testing of the soil and why.
Laboratory testing facility that we constructed. This is going to have state-of-the-art equipment. It's going to be able to test not just your THC, the stuff that gets you high, but a full range, about 11 other cannabinoids. It's going to test heavy metals that might have been sucked up from the soil. It's going to also test for 96 pesticides. Now, truthfully, some of these pesticides have never been imported in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They've never been here. But we have to show that there was a test for them and they were not present. That's how complex this is. We can't just say the Ministry of Agriculture writes a letter, they were never imported here. We have to test for them 96 different pesticides.
Dr. Thompson also spoke about a water project which the MCA will be embarking upon soon.
And water, in terms of clean water, we are going to be working with CWSA to look at streams, rivers, water sources to make sure that they themselves are not contaminated, and that if they're used, that they won't affect your particular crop. And we should be setting up a protocol and so forth in terms of dealing with that so that we can have effective use of water. Next slide. And of course, this establishment of this ecosystem involves the traditional cultivator, the type of soil, our water availability, in terms of additionally the research that we are now embarking on and being export ready, and it's offshoot into tourism.
He is back and ready to take up once more the leadership position of the SVG Teachers Union. Oswald Robertson, who served as president of the union for several terms, took a break after his last term in 2018 and is now back to contest the leadership position in the election slated to take place next Tuesday and Wednesday. In an interview with SVGTV News, Robertson said his presidency was marked by many milestones which benefited the nation's teachers, and he said he wished to continue this legacy of excellence, which the union had under his leadership. He said teachers' appointments and grievance handling are just some of the accomplishments the union achieved under his leadership.
In 2017, the 26th of October, I led a delegation of the Teachers Union and we met with the Service Commission, Chief Personnel Officer. And we echoed, we advocate for the appointments of teachers. We were very happy that the following day, which was Independence Day, the Prime Minister announced, having listened to our call, made the statement that teachers would receive the appointments on a face-to-face basis. And so as early as 2018, people start getting the appointments. Hundreds of teachers are receiving the appointments as a result of the effective representation that I would have given them. Grievance handling. There are teachers who have had grievances, and I went out there and I represented them. And they have been resolved in the interest of all parties.
Robertson said trade union education as well as the continued partnership with the Canadian Teachers Federation are also accomplishments seen under his leadership, and that even though he was not on the executive, he continued to serve the union by conducting a majority of the trade union education sessions to boost the capacity of the nation's teachers. He said his work in 2018 also led the government making decisions beneficial to the nation's teachers and children.
In January, February, and March of 2018, I, Oswald Robinson, visited over 21 schools and extracted, a survey was conducted where I extracted the working conditions under which our teachers function. Because you can't separate teaching from learning. And those were produced to the executive in my report, and they were also presented, which form part of our agenda in meeting with the Ministry of Education. And that forced the government to declare a national maintenance and school repair program. So the efforts of my representation, the legacy is there, and I want to continue.
In a recent interview with SVG-TV News, the current sitting president of the SVG Teachers Union, Wendy Bino, said the union under her leadership was able to secure a meeting with the government to negotiate for a new collective bargaining agreement. For his part, Robinson said under his leadership, the union was able to meet with the government to discuss this very matter and explain why a new agreement was not signed then under his leadership.
There are people who don't want to say that we never negotiated a collective agreement after 2005. But we negotiated a collective agreement in 2013. And the reason why we did not sign was because the election leave was a contentious issue. And that matter was being tested in the court. We are happy that the court ruled in favor of the teachers' union. The government appealed and lost the appeal. So all we have to do now is just to go and reconvene the negotiation and sign the document. Because we may run the risk tomorrow for negotiations to tamper with the election leave.
A 98-year-old who recently celebrated her birthday has a sound advice for the younger generation. The Salvation Army celebrated with the elderly woman who is the oldest member of the institution here in SVG. Larissa Pugsy-Kidd tells us more in this report.
The Stella Primus is 98 strong and has experienced many things throughout her life. However, one of the things that bothers her now is the violence in the country. At her birthday celebrations and Thanksgiving service, hip, hip, hooray! With family, friends and members of the Salvation Army, Primus said she is grateful for life. While reflecting on her own life experiences, Primus said the country needs prayers since she believes this will help stop some of the violence.
That will save them and keep them in the head of his hand. Long time they never kill them and kill them going, never. To this day, with the man rifles only 4 these days. But our God can do anything for us.
The elderly woman said that one of the many things she enjoyed doing was being of service to hundreds of people and said that more persons should do the same.
Help the poor and the needy, the sick and the afflicted ones. That was my work. From the we are in the country, praying to God, praying for them. And we have time, when special days, to go to different homes. And who couldn't help themselves, we will wash their clothes, lay their skin, cook for them, clean the house, clean the yard, and bless them.
Primus has 2 children and credits her long life to God. Her son says he is proud of his mother and happy to go through life with her.
She took care of her kids, which was always her priority. She would walk off jobs if that was affected in any way. And most of all, she is a family person. She has family who is family, and she has family who she just embraced.
Premise has been with the Salvation Army ever since it was established in SVG decades ago. Head of the Salvation Army Church, Ernest Gashlin, said, Premise life on earth is worth celebrating.
Although she is 98, she can hear, she can move, not by herself, but she has a walker. She will job, but she could hear, she could see a little bit, and she could speak a little bit, so she still have a passion to serve God.
98 years old, and this month here I say, wow, it would be a nice privilege if we can have even a get-together for her, and I believe she will be happy about it.
Premise family, friends, and members of the Salvation Army are also looking forward to celebrate her 100th birthday in 2 years' time. For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
The SVG Girls Guide Association will kick off its 106th anniversary celebrations since the start of Girl Guiding in the country tomorrow with the annual Althea Comajong Brown Public Speaking Competition. The competition will be held at the Girls Guides headquarters in Level Garden from 3:30 in the afternoon. The association says the purpose of the competition is to empower brownie guides and enable them to develop self-confidence, a creative imagination, empathy, and maturity in interpretational skills. The topic of this year's competition is "We are all taught to love our neighbor as ourselves." In what ways have you seen persons disobey the teaching, and how do you think each of us can try to do better? There are 8 participants in Friday's competition hailing from the Windward Division as far as Barra in the north, Trimica in the Leeward Division, and several participants from the Kingston Grenadines Division. On World Thinking Day, Saturday 22nd February 2020, in full uniform, the Bim Bims, Brownie Guides, Girl Guides, Ranger Guides, young leaders and guiders of the association will have the Thinking Day parade starting at 1:45 p.m. from the area in front of the building and Loan Association. The parade will move through the streets of Kingston from 2:15 p.m. to the Russell's Auditorium.